And honestly, as like a natural introvert, it was definitely a little bit challenging in the beginning. I was like, I don't know what questions to ask these people when I'm hopping on a call with them, and they would say like, "Oh, what questions do you have for us?" And I'd be like, "I don't know much. I'm just getting started." But again, just that continuation of continuing to put yourself out there and to continuing to talk to these people is really what led me to meet this person and then eventually invest in her deal a couple months down the road.
Yeah. And bro, like Trevor, you are not alone by any means. A lot of people that are in the same exact shoes of you that are very introvert or they want to get started in real estate. They have no idea how to get started. And
Hello, you're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information,
I think
please visit
even just being so transparent, first and foremost, like with that, just being very lay your cards out on the table. But then afterwards, next, welcome back everyone to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Brandon Elliott. Today we have a special guest on, just getting started into real estate investing at 25 years old, has been positioning himself around real estate investors for a long time now, starting off with really getting a platform together to help more people get on podcast episodes like this, but also positioning himself to really get into some real estate himself and get active on his own property, but also currently a new LP to a triple net lease option investment property. So that's awesome. There's a lot of ins and outs, and there's going to be some tips and tricks that we're going to share with you guys today. If you're just getting started with real estate investing, this is the episode for you. If you are interested or getting curious about real estate investing, you're definitely going to want to reach out to Trevor afterwards as well. If you have any questions throughout, put in the comments below, tag, share, whatever it may be. Let us know. You can reach out to us afterwards. We'll share all that fun stuff with you. But Trevor, what is up, my friend? How we doing today?
I'm doing excellent today. Excited to be here. Excited to chat.
Let's go. Me too, brother. So talk to me, 30,000 foot view for all the listeners, who you are, where you're from, what you're up to in the real estate space, so we can get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah. So I'm located right outside of Albany, New York. Grew up in Massachusetts. Lived there pretty much my entire life until as of September 1st, actually, of this year, when me and my wife bought a house in New York in the town that she's located from. So it wasn't just a random sort of location. Besides that, really, for the last 5 years or so, I've been running a company where we, as you mentioned, work with folks in the investment space throughout there and get them booked on podcasts. That sort of piqued my interest into real estate investing. And honestly, I hadn't really thought about it until one day my business coach said to me, why haven't you really invested in real estate? I was like, well, I never really thought about investing in real estate, but I've been working with these clients, like I mentioned, over 5 years now. And that sort of got me interested into real estate investing. That sent me down a rabbit hole, which I'm sure we'll go through, on Bigger Pockets and podcasts and networking. And that made me realize that I could be an LP in a deal where I don't necessarily have to go out and find the deal. I don't have to manage the deal. I can just put my capital up for the deal. So that got me interested in being an LP. This was probably back in August, kept betting deals, kept talking to sponsors. And then really, I was going to invest probably sometime in the first of the year in January. And then I just came across a great triple net lease opportunity about 2 weeks ago and had the capital, there, put the money in there and invested in that deal. And now sort of looking at the next sort of step where I want to go as an LP. And it's funny, I invested in that first deal. And then next thing I know, my brother's calling me up. He's interested into what I'm doing. And then his wife is interested in it. So I think we're potentially looking at starting an LLC together and investing our capital. I put in 10K, he puts 10K. Next thing you know, we have 50K or 100K from our family members, and we're putting them into these deals. So that's sort of, I guess, a little bit over an overview.
Yeah, I love it. At the end of the day, it's really, really funny to see as you take the leap of faith, as you start getting active in real estate and start aiming towards your goals and dreams, how the rest of the friends and family start popping out of the woodworks like, hey, why didn't you let me know? Like, I'm interested. I want to be a part of it. And they see the look on your face. They get excited alongside with you. And the leadership skills that you have been developing, it starts turning into really the breakthroughs for all these other people around you. So kudos to you for doing that, bro, and stepping out. Talk to me. Did you just stumble across getting started as like helping people in the space for the last 5 years on getting them bookings for a podcast? Or like, what did that look like? I know there's a lot of people in the space. How do you stand out from that? And why did you go that route?
Yeah, I would say I sort of stumbled it in a way. But the precursor, it was back in 2015, and I was running a different company at that time. And I had actually started my own podcast, and I was interviewing a ton of people. And some of the more successful investors were David Osborne and Jay Papasan, co-author of The Millionaire Real Estate Investor. So I was connecting myself with those folks again back in 2015. Ran that podcast for about 2 years and never made any money on it. The company wasn't that successful. So I started freelancing out my skills, which consisted of editing people's podcasts, writing show notes. And one day I came across a turnkey real estate investor out of LA. She wanted to go out there, get booked on podcasts. And I thought, well, I booked all these really high quality guests on my show. How hard could that be to get her booked on shows? Long story short, started working with her and realized after about 6 months, I enjoyed booking people as guests on podcasts. Didn't even have a website up for the first year. No employees, just me, running that out of my dorm room, taking sales calls from the library of the college that I was at, really a bootstrapping operation. And after about a year and a half of doing that, I realized I just enjoy working with real estate investors. They're the best community. They're not cutthroat, they're friendly, and I just enjoy working with the investor community and decided about 3.5 years ago, I just wanted to go all in, working primarily with real estate investors. And that's sort of how it became. I mean, we worked with a lot of different niches, business coaches, entrepreneurs, lawyers, CPAs, just all these different avenues that were, marketing agencies, anyone that, would benefit from going out there on a podcast we worked with. And we realized I don't want to work in all these niches. I'd rather work in just the real estate space. And even within the real estate space, there's so many different niches. You got your multifamily, self-storage, mobile home park. There's so many different avenues, but I'd rather be the specialist in just real estate. And that's where we sort of built the brand on, or I've been able to build the brand on really in the last couple of years.
I love it. So you've been helping people and you're still doing that currently, right?
Correct.
I love it. So talk to me about networking. I know that you just kind of broke down a bunch of different ways that you've been surrounding yourself with high-level individuals and getting in front of them. You love networking with some of the best in the space for real estate investing. But what other networking techniques have you done over the years that has helped you feel the confidence and the education to get to the point where you are ready to start pulling the trigger for real estate investing today?
I would say the biggest thing is there's a couple of different Zoom meetups that go around, for commercial real estate, and they meet up, throughout the week for an hour or so, Monday. Honestly, there's one now on Saturday and there's occasionally one on Sunday, and they're about an hour long. And this was back in the summer. And, I was still trying to figure out my way into the real estate space and would just join these networking groups for an hour. And it was super uncomfortable. I mean, even though I'd been in this space for 5 years helping my investors, I wasn't looking at their deals. I didn't know what, cap rates were. I didn't know, different things, bridge loans, things that I just didn't know from just not really caring about it that much in real estate. But I realized that if I wanted to invest in real estate myself, I had to get around these folks. So consistently just attending these networking groups, every single week, forcing myself to be uncomfortable, get around these folks that are, a lot smarter than me. And eventually in one of these networking groups, I came across this gentleman and I sent him a LinkedIn message and I was just curious about what he did. And he was sort of that folk that was about 1 or 2 steps ahead of me. He'd been investing in syndications for about a year and a half. He had about 4 or 5 deals under his belt, and I was coming into the space with no deals under my belt. So it was great to talk to him for about an hour, laid out all the objections. I don't know anyone in real estate. I don't know anything about real estate. I don't know how it works. All those sort of, self-fulfilling, excuses that you're going to have, and he pushed me back on all of them. I remember my wife was in the car and we were going up to New Hampshire for the weekend for a little vacation. And I talked to him for an hour in that car ride. And, he was just countering all of my objections. And I realized, this could actually be something that I could invest in. And then what really pushed the needle for me is I joined this group called the Left Field Investors. And it's basically an online, it was going to be in person, then COVID happened. So it's no longer in person, but it's an investment community for folks that are looking to passively invest in deals. They'll talk about sponsors, they'll review deals. And a couple of the group members, they're meeting up in Boston. And I happened to be going to Boston that weekend. So met up with them in the morning. And they're all W-2 employees that were just looking to invest in real estate. And this was honestly about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I realized, this isn't so much of a dream. This could actually happen. And just by connecting with those people in person just made me realize, this is actually a possibility. I could actually invest in real estate. There are people out there doing it. And that just even gave me more of the confidence, just again, to invest in real estate by continually surrounding myself with these investors, folks that are, definitely more successful than I was, or who have more experience.
Yeah, that's good. I love it. And I think that's a key point right there. Like you found somebody that was just a couple steps ahead of you. You weren't like going for somebody that's like leaps and bounds 20 years in the game, which is good as well if they have the patience and the time to be able to guide somebody, that is getting, fresh, getting started, versus you went to somebody that was just a couple of steps ahead of you that like 6 to 12 months prior, they were in your same boat, right? So that was, they can teach you or guide you in the simple steps that helped them overcome to get to where they are today. And that's more obtainable by not getting distracted with all the different moving pieces of somebody with a ton of experience, but instead going like the simplified version of what are the small steps that I need to take today to get to the end result for tomorrow. So talk to me, when it comes down to that deal that you did invest in recently, that LP, was that from one of those meetups that you were attending?
So this was actually funny. So this was, back in the summer. And when I was first starting to learn what it meant to be an LP, and I was like, what's the difference between a 506C and a 506B deal? That's how beginner I was. And I went on I went on Bigger Pockets, I should say. And there was a forum and they were talking about the differences between a 506B and 506C. And, I realized I would be non-accredited going into these deals. And the woman that I ended up investing in, she was commenting on the forum, and I ended up going on LinkedIn and adding her or connecting with her on LinkedIn, reaching out to her, setting up a call with her, and just talking to her about investing, what she's looking to do. She does a little bit of multifamily and triple net lease opportunities. So made that connection by just reaching out to her and having a 30-minute conversation with her. So this is again back in the summer. She kept putting deals out through her email list. I'd look at them, pass, just not fitting the criteria. And then eventually one came through again 2 weeks ago, I should say, at this point, and just matched my criteria where I was looking for a little bit more of a conservative approach. But I know that, especially on the 506B side, when you're investing in it, those investors, they can't reach out to me. They can't market themselves properly. You have to have that pre-built connection established with someone like myself that's going to be investing with them just to make sure they don't get in trouble with the SEC. So I had to push myself to go out there and to connect with these people. And honestly, as like a natural introvert, it was definitely a little bit challenging in the beginning. I was like, I don't know what questions to ask these people when I'm hopping on a call with them. And they would say like, oh, what questions do you have for us? And I'd be like, I don't know much. I'm just getting started. But again, just that continuation of continuing to put yourself out there and to continuing to talk to these people is really what led me to meet this person and then eventually invest in her deal a couple months down the road.
Yeah. And bro, like Trevor, you are not alone by any means. A lot of people that are in the same exact shoes of you that are very introvert or they want to get started in real estate. They have no idea how to get started. And they are simply just like finding themselves in these rooms or, that's a great first step. And then when people ask you like, hey, what questions do you have? I want to be able to pour into you, help you out and so forth. And you're like, dude, I have no idea. Like, I don't know what I don't know to even ask to get started, I think even just being so transparent, first and foremost, like with that, just being very lay your cards out on the table. But then afterwards, next, let them know the goals and what you're looking to accomplish in a 6, 12, 5-year mark, in the next couple of years. Let them know what you are very interested in and let people know where you're looking to go. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily get very crystal clear on that aspect up front. And it's something that could be extremely hands down, like very beneficial, because as long as you know where you're going and you are brave enough to say, I have no idea how to get there. I have no idea. I know I want to get into real estate. Don't know what that looks like, but I do want to have cash flow of 10K a month so I could quit my job and have freedom and these other things. And I'm okay putting in hard work for the next 5 years, Any ideas, guys? Then it's like, once you lay your cards out on the table, then we have something to work with and people can start, giving you recommendations on where to start, what books to read, what rooms to put yourself in, and it can just start snowballing right there. So I love that. I think the people that don't take action, the people that don't get brave, step out of their comfort zone, they're not going to get the results that they're looking for at the end of the day. So kudos to you, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I would definitely agree with that.
So when it comes down to Bigger Pockets, you got a lot of breakthroughs, it sounds like, from that resource, just like we all have, right? But your partnership that you're in right now on that particular deal, Talk to me, what other, I guess, relationships or experience do you have on Bigger Pockets, and how beneficial has that been thus far? How long you been on it?
Yeah, so again, it was probably back in the midsummer. Again,
Yeah.
started it. No real idea what I'm doing, what I'm doing on the platform. It honestly took me a few weeks just to discover the forums on there. And
Yeah.
then once I discovered those forums, it was just trying to be helpful to people where even though I didn't have that investment experience, if they say, hey, does anyone have a recommendation for this? I would give my recommendation. Or if they're taking a look at a deal and I've been, practicing my hand at underwriting, I would take a look at it and say, hey, like, you're maybe being a little too conservative with your expenses, or, your occupancy rate, your net income might be a little bit lower than you actually expect. And here's why. And just continuing to force myself to go on that platform and to comment on people's posts. And then some of the people that I would come across, they would put something out there and I'd be like, I don't really understand that. Let me go connect with this person again on Bigger Pockets and let me schedule a quick, call with them or send them a message. Hey, can you explain this concept a little bit further to me? And honestly, I try to go on there at least once or twice a day and continuing to look at the forums and just see what people are posting, see what questions people have, see what I can do to help out with any knowledge that I have, and just to continue to give on that platform. And then, you get it back. And that's how I ended up learning about a mortgage note company that I ended up investing in 70 investments with Chris Saveni. I didn't really know that much about mortgage notes, but then all of a sudden, I'm on the forums every day and he's commenting on posts and providing value every day. The next thing you know, you're like, hey, let me go check out this guy's company. Then I check it out. I'm like, well, that looks pretty cool. And that opened up my horizon. I mean, I never know that you could invest in an asset class like that. Again, just by continuing to go on that platform and continuing to just be open to learning and adapting.
I love that. Yeah, man. I mean, when you are determined to succeed, right? When you're determined to get the results that you're looking for and you're willing to do whatever it takes to get there, then you'll start, instead of spending so much time on social media, right? Like you'll swap out that time with time on Bigger Pockets, on an educational platform that you can get your questions answered, be able to give some feedback, look over other deals, and start getting some knowledge going and different resources to be able to pull you up and take you to that next level. So very cool, man. So talk to me, any fear along the way when you're doing any of this, and like, how has your experience been thus far getting started in real estate? I know there was a couple horror experiences when it came down to your own personal residence after purchasing real estate and so forth. So would love your feedback.
I would say probably the biggest thing was just the uncomfortableness of just not knowing what you don't know. And I know you mentioned my personal residence where my wife and I bought our first house. We'd been renting, so we had a little bit of that experience. But buying a house was a different animal. Our first night we had rain, it leaks from the bedroom. So it's like an $800 expense. Our water heater's not working. It's a $3,500 expense that we had to fix. The house came with the pool and the pump's not working. So we have to replace that. And then I realized that, you just replace these things and eventually you just get back on track with your finances. I had to put out quite a bit in the early beginning. And I think, when I looked at real estate, that even if something goes wrong, I mean, outside of a natural disaster like a tornado or a hurricane or a fire, something that's absolutely horrible, I think there's always a way that you can make money. And especially in real estate, being profitable. Obviously I'm not a GP, but I mean, when I'm looking at multifamily deals, if you're buying in the right criteria, the right spot, as long as you're not buying something that's overvalued or you're over leveraged, that sort of thing, there's still a way to make money. So I think, my experience, between buying my house, it definitely scared me, at least for a little bit, from investing in real estate. But then on the LP side, when I realized that, I wouldn't have to deal with some of those problems I dealt with now. I mean, hopefully, we don't have any capital calls or anything like that comes around. But again, just becoming uncomfortable, that was like the biggest fear. And especially one, owning my own house, never doing that. Yeah. And then two, becoming an LP, and none of my family's ever invested in real estate. My parents haven't invested in real estate. Friends, no one I know has invested in real estate, let's say as an alternative asset to the stock market. So I was sort of going out there and being the first one in my family to sort of break that gap or break that bridge, invest. And that was definitely something that was uncomfortable and definitely wiring money, for the deal and sending it out there sort of into the void and hoping that the routing and account number was correct. And it's almost like, I don't know, to a degree, it's almost like what I don't know. And so I like to learn by the school of hard knocks. So if something doesn't work out in the deal, well, then the capital I invested, at least there was a learning opportunity so I don't make that same mistake again. And I think too many people let that fear hold them back from going out there thinking like, okay, what could go wrong? Well, a lot of things went wrong when I owned my house, but, I overcame them. And similar, if things go wrong in this deal as an LP, yeah, it'll suck. I want to get good cash flow coming out of it, but at the end of the day, it'll be a good learning opportunity.
Yeah, it's not like anybody invest in opportunities that they are looking or anticipated to fail, right? Like we want them all to do very well, obviously, but it's important to acknowledge, okay, worst case scenario, this money that I invested, I never get it back. And boy, that would suck, right? However, there's pros and cons to everything. If you have the right mindset behind it, if you don't put all your eggs in one basket, if you really learn from what did go wrong and then not make that mistake again moving forward, then you can set yourself up for tremendous long-term benefits. And starting young and being, I wouldn't say more risky, but to a certain degree, like more risky, like daring, like try more things, get more aggressive with your investing. It's like, this is the time now, because not all investment opportunities work out. In fact, many probably fail more than succeed. However, once you start getting around experienced people and you start learning from these things and you start really crushing it, there's calculated risk. There's a big difference. So once you have calculated risk and you know where you're at, you're not putting all your eggs in one basket, then you'll have opportunities to succeed in the long run and really be able to crush it and beat inflation and really soar above that. And just like you mentioned, when it comes down to your personal residence, yeah, it sucks when certain things break down or pop up on you unexpectedly. And it's it's $800, $1,000, 1,500, 3,000, that sucks. But now it's fixed and now it's brand new. Now it's going to last a long time. Now it's going to set you up for success. So it's like over time, you'll get back on track and then you can really crush it in the future. So kudos to you, bro. I appreciate your time today. I think it's going to help out a lot of people that are just getting started in real estate investing. Tell me, what does the future look like for you? I'm curious to see, what are the goals for you? Where are you trying to go? I know the end of the year is coming up. A lot of people start working on their plans now, where they want to go for next year. So what does it look like for you?
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things. The first one being investing in real estate as an LP. Wanted to build up enough cash flow in the next couple of years where it covers my monthly expenses without anything additional. So I want to bite off that goal, get a couple thousand under my belt so it covers the mortgage, the utilities and the groceries and things like that. And then, from there, jump off to the next goal. But that's the first one I have. The second one, we'll probably be looking to invest again as an LP. And it was interesting. I know we talked about it a little bit before, but when I invested in this deal, as I mentioned, no one in my family really ever invested in real estate. And a couple of days later, after I invested in it, my brother is interested in it and his wife is interested in it. So I'm sort of thinking, to get them interested in real estate, starting an LLC and putting our capital together to invest in a deal. So, I'll be talking to them tomorrow, on Thanksgiving and checking everything out with them and showing them, what I'm looking at and those sort of deals. So I think that's sort of an area where I want to go to next. And similar with my wife, she kills me. She just has cash just sitting there and just burning a hole with inflation. So I want to be able to get it to put to work for at least a little bit for her, just investing again on my own as an LP, and building up those cash reserves or investing together sort of as a family opportunity as an LLC. And then I think, long-term goal would eventually like to be active in real estate. I wanted to be an LP in a couple of deals before I go out and find my own deals. I'm the one raising the capital, putting everything together because that part of it fascinates me. But again, just for right now where I am in my spot, I just want to be an LP, learn sort of those ropes. So in a few years, I can go down that road.
Love it. Awesome. Well, how can people get a hold of you?
Sure. LinkedIn's the best spot. They can go to my LinkedIn, Trevor Oldham. That's just my name. You can check me out there. Or if they're interested on our company, you can go to podcastingu.com.
Cool. I love it, man. Well, I appreciate your time today. I think it's going to help out a ton of people. Keep doing what you're doing, man, and getting yourself in rooms like this, networking. And yeah, it's going to be very rewarding for you in the long run. So guys, reach out to Trevor, add some value, and he's a wealth of knowledge and on to some big things. So very excited for him. If you guys want to get a hold of me, you can always do so on Instagram. It's Brandon Elliott Investments. Otherwise, facebook.com/Brandon Elliott Investor. If you're looking to really truly get educated on how the banks and lenders are judging you so you know how to play the game of credit. I'm talking totally flipping the script on these banks and being able to get as much credit lines, as much funding from these banks, $500,000 or more in new credit lines at 0% interest, and then put it to work by purchasing real estate or getting calculated risk assets that will cash flow. Then check out creditcounselelite.com. That's www.creditcounselelite.com. There is a hour-long webinar that breaks down all the possibilities for you that truly will change your life. Guaranteed, promise, like wholeheartedly. no BS behind this. Truly will change your life. So check out creditcounselelite.com. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. Would love to be able to bless you in any way needed. As always, hit that subscribe button to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. Love all the feedback and all the 5-star reviews we've been getting lately. Make sure you leave a 5-star review if you haven't already and share this out to somebody that needs it. We will catch you on the next one. Happy holidays and God bless. Peace.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, God bless.